Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are. Now I gotta be honest here, and this is gonna be a little bit of a pre-ramble. The first thing is, I was very excited to this game on 2018. I think 2017, maybe probably. It is when I put this game on my list of the games that I was fairly excited about. Although I will start try my best to look for the video that really pushed me into this game. That was something that I found on Facebook of all those places a long time ago when Facebook recommendations work. Two games caught my attention. The first one was this one, Phantom Brigade, a strategic turn-based mech game. The second one was End State, a tactical military where you would control a group of mercenaries on a country. Although, sadly enough, none of this game and End State got anywhere fast. They slowed down and I didn't receive many news for it. It was a sad state of affairs, but what can I do? Life is life. But later on 2018 or 2017 to 2018, we got the news then Phantom Brigade got picked up by Brace Yourself Gaming, and with a publisher behind, they would be able to really publish the game. Even that, they shove right up next, they shove wishlist on Steam. Wow, although it's no news to anyone who ever watched this channel, I'm very disappointed about the fact they decide to jump on we need more money and grab the bag of Epic Game Store, the Fortnite money. And they are now they will offer early access on the Epic Store. Now, I find funny the first thing, early access supposed to be something about getting feedback from holy shit. Early access supposed to be something and you get feedback from your player base or anything else, your community about your game. But Epic Store is lacking on reviews, a forum, or any place where really, I don't know if they have reviews. I remember a couple months ago when they were talking about not having the ability of review bombing, of complaining about Steam ability of review bombing and stuff like that. So I don't know the state of affairs on that point, but I do 100% sure they don't have a forum. And of course they will be relying on the Steam forum because the game's still on being able to be wishlist on Steam. But the main point is they are doing early access to get feedback, and they say, oh, you can still go to our forum. But funnily enough, they lack the sense of we're doing feedback, we are doing early access to get feedback, but we are ignoring the feedback that you're already giving us, then you don't want Epic Store. Well, it's a business decision, and we don't know who was. Although Brace Yourself is a studio, I don't know who made it genius PR move of getting that, but let us remember, a couple of games who end up being Epic exclusive don't turn out to be great. Phoenix Point has its own problems, and Shenmue 3 was never... Sadly, I know a lot of people love that game, and I can understand that, but it was... Shenmue 3, I doubt it would be a commercial success in any way, shape, or form. More because, well, the people who really want that game would probably be the people who pay for the Kickstarter of it. So you kind of can get then why I say it would not be a commercial success. But I still kept this game on my wish list on Steam, despite my very bad entry level. And then I saw the beginning of this trailer. I will show and I will point out a couple of the problems that I have. And this video will be a couple parts. This was a little bit of a pre-ramble, and now we're gonna be seeing the trailer, the gameplay trailer. It happened a long time ago, 8 months already, but I just saw this right now. Let me show you.
Outnumbered and outgunned, Mech commanders enlisted in the Phantom Brigade use an AI prototype to predict the future actions of the enemy and counter their every move on the battlefield. Missions are divided into turns or sequences. Each takes a few seconds of real time and consists of 2 phases. Commanders begin in the planning phase. Here, real time is suspended, and commanders take as long as needed to plot their squad's actions using the timeline.
Now, I'm gonna stop here, and sadly enough, there is no good way to do it, but I'm gonna do the best that I can. Remember back when we saw the trailer a long time ago of Phantom Doctrine? Interesting enough. And I praised the UI. It was a very simplistic, a very smooth AI. AI not, a UI. Here, it clogged up this entire corner of the screen. And different here than, for example, back on Phantom Doctrine or any of the AI UIs that we have nowadays. It's barely able. I'm barely able to know what things are. I think, and I'm saying I think because, well, here, this is move, this is attack. I think this is defense. Maybe this is reload weapon, and only God knows what this is. Targeting, maybe? And if this is really target, and I'm telling target because we have this here, targeting, and we have this yellow dash. I'm going to say, oh, wait, is this worse than I thought? I'm gonna leave the link on the description for that trailer, and because the way that I'm showing you, it's gonna be very difficult, because I'm pointing with my mouse cursor, and you see here, there's the title. I didn't notice this the first time that I watch.
And commanders take as long as needed to plot their squad's action.
Anyone? Okay, I know what this is now. This is reset. Okay, let me tell you something interesting. Now, I think this is reset, and I hope this is pause. Let me tell you something. Right now, without anything, the UI and the gameplay is contradicting what the trailer is saying. Listen with me, what the trailer is saying.
Here, real time is suspended, and commanders take as long as needed to plot their squad's actions using the timeline. The timeline is used to visualize predicted unit movement, check for potential collision.
Okay, doesn't matter that much. Let me push back to the point where it's matter, or the only point that matter. Here it says, commanders will have every time they need to plan out their action. And that's a thing. Besides a couple mods on XCOM 2, even if your mission has a turn limit, you have every time in the world to plot out and make your decision, your movement. To see how you want to plan out things, you can place the cursor there, see the line of sight, and see how much, like, if you want to move here, or if you want to move there. But, look at here. Again, if you want, just pop up to the trailer and watch. Pay attention on the left up corner.
Phase. Here, real time is suspended, and commanders take as long as needed to plot their squad's actions using the timeline.
There is a timer on each turn. Of course, you can reset it. That by indicated here, it means probably if you click here, you're gonna reset. Now, you have, although I think by what we show, 12 minutes per turn. It sounds like a shit ton of minute time, but the thing is, it is something that I discussed with a friend about Dead Rising 2. Just because you have a timer, it creates tension, and on a turn-based game, I don't think this tension is necessary. You don't need this clock, especially when you're saying on the and the thing when the thing that you're talking on your trailer is then commander will have enough time every time than it needs. 12 minutes is enough time to do whatever you want, but still a timer. And I think there was a stud, I don't remember where I read. Uh, you had two groups of people, and you sat down with, you divided those people, and you gave 5 simple math questions to both of the group of people. The only difference on the questions, the only difference is Group A, they had a timer, and Group B, they didn't have a timer. Uh, more or less, they finish around the same, with a reasonable amount of time to spare. But, funnily enough, uh, the stress, people after talk a lot more. They were more stressed, and they performed worst because of the time, because the pressure of time. They were pushed to do, like, quote unquote, rush their decision. So that's a thing here, and even if you have this reset, which what I think it does is reset the entire turn, putting you back to the starting point, and I'm talking out of my own ass here. Uh, you will do like, oh, I gonna plan the move of this unit, then this unit, then this unit, then what? Are you gonna write on the fucking sketchbook what I need to do? Let's watch the rest of the trailer.
The timeline is used to visualize predicted unit movement, check for potential collisions, and issue orders to counter enemy plans at precise
Okay, this is shoot brace. I kinda was right.
moments. An action like an attack or shield brace can be placed in parallel with movement, but cannot overlap another. Once the plan is
So each of those will be probably right and left hand.
locked in, the execution phase begins and real-time resumes. It is here that commanders can see their plans unfold. But once physics takes over, there can be unintended consequences. Commanders will need to adapt to these new outcomes at the start of the next sequence.
That's something interesting. Here, first, you're doubling the time on a turn, and with this execution phase. What that means is, you plan your phase, you do all the things, and then you press play or let the timer run off, and you watch. People who played BattleTech or even just saw the development and was interesting about, there is a reason why you don't have multiple lenses in BattleTech. It's not because, oh, we don't want to give you multiple lenses or stuff like that, or it was because it was hard to balance AI. Probably a little bit of that, but one of the reasons they said is, we give you one lens because with the balance of the game and all of the things, we want to give you like a certain amount of time. For example, one battle would take 40 minutes. That's the amount of time that we found was acceptable for a battle in BattleTech. So if we place more units, we would have to have larger maps. Larger maps would probably mean then would be more timing, more time to preparing, more time lost, movement and stuff like that. So the battle sequence could prolong more than this 30 to 40 minutes that was their end goal for a round of BattleTech. And here we have That's 2 turns. That's the thing. We don't have 1 turn. We have 2 turns. You have your turn, your planning phase, and the execution. Now, you can really easily come down to me and say, oh, it doesn't really matter because it's probably something like the enemy turn. You can simply say, oh, the execution phase is the enemy turn, and things like that. But I think in the end, this is just a waste of time, and I see myself planning the phase, press the button, and pulling out my phone and going to Twitter or start farming stuff on Fate Go or whatever game I'm playing on cell phone at the moment. Because it doesn't matter. None of your action, like, you don't have reason to watch. And of course, let's see again the execution thing.
And real time resumes. It is here that commanders can see their plans unfold. But once physics takes over, there can be unintended consequences. Commanders will need to adapt to the...
That is the thing that really gives me a little bit of a frustration moment. Okay, when physics take over, shit can happen. Fair enough. And what happened? If your Mac fumbles and stop, what will happen? He will stop. He will stop carrying out the order and then you give it. For example, a building fall over and while you're on it. I don't know. It's strange to put examples because you collide with a thing. The enemy just, I don't know. It's very stupid to try making an objective point because the fact is, anything that happened, as you can see here, the mech lost an arm, which means that can be, for example, oh, you order him to shoot with his right arm. Now he lost the arm, so what? It stops. The whole action gonna stop. The action of the action of attacking will stop. He will just carry the action of move. He still has like the right arm, and if I'm not mistaken,
Commanders will need to...
so he's still shooting. But you see, what will happen? Really, it's... Although I had a lot of problems with Phoenix Point, I will say one thing. On the combat, your control department, on the department of you, the player, controlling the actions of your unit, Phoenix Point is one of the best. It gives you 100% control by taking the RNG out of the game, by simply generating and each projectile, not so you have that free aim thing, and not only that, the action points are very granular, so you can, without spending an entire action point, you can move square by square to decide how you're going to move. So that gives you a lot of control over your actions, while this I see just like being a frustration generator. Oh, the building, that's a thing. I don't know how environment works. Let's say then, for some reason, the building then you're in front, and I finally found an objective point to make here. The building then you are in front falls over. Your order was to jump on top of that, but because the enemy passed over, because the building took enough damage, or whatever it is, the building falls over. Now, your unit will stop, because it doesn't have anymore the jump over. There is no building to jump over. So it will simply stop and stop its order and not do anything. Or option B, it will shoot forward, because that was your, for example, that was your order. Oh, you're gonna jump on top, and I'm doing hand gestures to emulate that, to see how stupid I am. You're gonna jump over and you're gonna shoot on the enemy who is behind another building. So I'm giving you the height advantage. to shoot on the enemy, but now the building is ground level, probably even creating a barrier for you to shoot through. Now you will jump through that and stop because you not have the order to do. You stop because you don't have the order. You don't have the building to jump on. You're going to stop and shoot, but there is a second building on this example, this crazy example that I built up, and you're gonna just shoot at the building, which doesn't make sense. So this is a very specific example, but the only one that I really can think about right now. But let me tell you, you will be able during gameplay, if this is the real, this is how they're gonna do this. You can see a lot of examples of that happening.
Adapt to these new outcomes at the start of the next sequence. There is much work to be done since the invasion. We must take back what is ours. We are counting on you, Commander.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna stop the video right here. I'm gonna try to find gameplay, real gameplay of this. Hope from the developer side of things. Probably not gonna find, but if I find, we're gonna be seeing each other right now. If I didn't find gameplay from the developer, I'm gonna watch the gameplay and I'm gonna talk to you about it. See you in a second. One of the interesting points is on the official channel, you don't have much about it. Not only on gameplay, but much at all. You have one interview, the gameplay, the trailer that we have here, and 2 live streams. Both of the live streams does stand to the same amount of to the same model of gameplay. But as they say, the internet never forgives and never forgets. Which that means is, well, they have the old style of gameplay. So I'm not gonna show you on this video because I feel showing something that way, it would be really using other YouTuber content, has background footage, and I'm not commenting on the footage and would be just showing for showing. So I'm gonna leave on the description below one of the channels that I saw and it had the gameplay. I'm probably gonna put a couple more. I highly recommend Recon Raider 2. He did have, but his video is far older than the one that I'm really showing you now. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt. In the end, it's clear they changed the gameplay style. And it's not only the gameplay style they changed the subtitle of the game. It's not a mech turn-based combat game, turn-based mech tactics game or something like that. It's now a cinematic turn-based mech tactics. And let me tell you something. When it comes to video games, why every time someone really shoves the word cinematic, turns out to look like shit? It is on the frame rate, the discussion of 24 frame rate against 60 frame rate. 24 is better, it's a more cinematic feel to it. And here it is, oh, it's more of a cinematic turn-based game than it is before. I would really like to ask the developer why was this decision made, because there was the decision. We see there is an old version of the game that show a better combat system. They show a more traditional combat system. And even I question myself about a lot of things, like how artillery type of weapons gonna work, how the beam weapons that are used on the trailer are going to work, how a lot of the things will work on this very strange and unorthodox way to do turn-based. And different than, for example, Phoenix Point. And although I will admit it, it has a lot of problems with it. You can see the reasoning and you can see the positives of it, even if there is negatives about the way they did their gameplay system, the control system, being by action points and the amount of granular control that you do have to each action point. By, as I said before, You can move square by square without spending more than one action point. Here we have a more strange way. For example, I will link to the description their official channel. They have two gameplay videos streams that was from the PAX and EA era of style. But I won't deny it. 2000, like 2020 has great games, Doom Eternal and Cyberpunk. But let me be honest, the disappointment with old games are very clear. God damn it. Even Sierra Ops came out of the bushes. Oh boy, oh boy. One more for the list of disappointment. See you guys next time. Oh, and just as a funny joke, this is what happened when you do a deal with Epic. You don't need to see what's gonna stick. Just throw whatever. You already have guaranteed sales anyway. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This was the video. If you enjoyed, leave it a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you have anything to say, please leave a comment. And if you want to see what the hell is gonna be coming next on this mess, subscribe. And see you guys on the next episode.